The story that when I was graduating from high school, one of my brother's girlfriend's mothers mentioned to me that I was good in math and I was good in science and I should consider biochemistry. So I did what most people do. I went and researched how much biochemists made. And I said, there it is. I'm going to be a biochemist. I went away to college. My second semester of my freshman year, I never forget, Dr. Higginbottom was my chemistry teacher. And I went to her, a little short lady, Caucasian with blonde curly hair, and she's about not even 5 feet tall. And I walked up to her and I was like, I need to drop. And she said, I'm so glad you did.
Oh,
I ain't mad at her because what happened in that point was my first lesson that you can't allow other people to write your story.
That is awesome.
So that was my first encounter of not allowing somebody else to write my story.
Okay.
And years later, now I know the significance of that moment, but I'm grateful for it in the same right because at that point in time, I was able to embrace what I love, and that's administration. That's love. I love planning. I love execution. I love inspiring other people. And because of my stop it, and because of my parents, I love hospitality and I love food.
okay.
Hey, glory.
Well, let's put a preface on that. I love good food.
Good food.
You know, that food that helps that soul. That you just need a good bite that just kind of makes you go, hmm. So I had the opportunity. Things don't just happen. I've gone through my corporate career, moved back home with my son, who I actually had 4 weeks before my senior year. And at that point in time, I made a commitment that I would graduate on time and that I would do everything that I could to make his life the best as possible and keep doing whatever. So I did, as people say, get an education and go get a good job. I went and got a good job, came back home, bought a house. And I realized how much I hated that good job. The monotony of going in at 8 o'clock. Those people literally went in at 8 o'clock, sat behind their desks. At lunchtime, they all herded to the cafeteria. At noon, an hour later, they all herded back to their desks. And then at 5 o'clock, you couldn't get out the parking lot because folks was running home to go to bed to do it all over again. And I made every excuse in the world. I'm going to do research. I just had to get out of the confines. And I actually fought that fight for over 20 years between banking, between financial institutions, sitting behind somebody's desk and allowing them to give me my worth. Fighting. I deserve more pay. Well, you have to prove it to us. Me giving my all, and it still wasn't good enough for these individuals. But the way my story changed was actually I had moved to my first bout in the restaurant business was actually the second owners of Dolly's on 18th and Grant. And we were there. My partner at the time, we went our separate ways and some things happened. So we closed those doors and I went to Bennigan's on Fifth Avenue and they lost their lease. So I said, I'll never go back into restaurant business again. Second lesson, never say never.
Never say never.
So I moved to Dallas and sold cars. I was doing some of everything, but that was my time to get back in alignment with myself, getting to know me, the spiritual side of things. It was my awakening period, my actually surrender period, because a lot of things that I was struggling with, I was able to fortify during that time away. My son refused to move, so I moved back home. He was a junior in high school, and so I wanted to get him through school. And I said, once we get him through school, then I'll make a decision where I want to go next. And he graduated from school, went to the Army. Unfortunately, a year and a half, almost 2 years after he graduated high school, he committed suicide, active duty military. That changed my life. His last words to me were, Mom, I love you, but I'm done living. And it's basically massaged and reshaped my life. We talk about a diamond comes from a block of coal. People talk about loss. And I'll tell you right now, with the most confident spirit that I have, is that I did not lose my son. If you've ever bore a child and they leave your body, you're constantly worried about them. You're constantly worried about their well-being. You're constantly worried about where they are, what they're doing. And the way that I have come to terms with my son is he's with me every day, closer than I can ever imagine. He's in my heart. He's in my mind. He's in my soul. He talks to me. He walks with me. He's advocating for me on the Most High. So it's not that I've lost him, because he's still here and he's still commandeering, just like he was on earth, my actions, where I go and where I don't go. And just so that happens, not too soon after his death, about 6 months, I was working a job and they pulled me into the office only to tell me that I did a great job. Mm-hmm. But then they told me they wanted to go a different route. And so I said, what does this mean? They're like, am I out? And he's like, yeah. But this was on a Friday, on the 26th of June. He says, no, we need you through the end of the month. So it's Friday at noon. You just told me you didn't need me anymore, but you want me to come back and work again on Monday. So needless to say, I never returned. Mm-hmm. But that gave me the perfect opportunity to do some self-assessment and decide how I wanted to spend the next chapter of my life. And I contemplated on all of the different careers that I had taken part in, the jobs that I have, but what gave me the most satisfaction? The most satisfaction was actually in the restaurant business. Seeing people come in, being able to welcome them, being able to feed them, being able to talk with them, to encourage them. Mm-hmm. And so everywhere I traveled that summer, I went to a place where they had a breakfast club. KLUB in Houston, Atlanta Breakfast Club. But the bottom line of it is that, okay, I had now found what I wanted to do, and that was Jay's Breakfast Club, returning back to Geary, opening those doors in 2015, and it's continued to evolve and erupt since then.
Yes. Look at you with a full whole story.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, and it's still unfolding.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, in the community, what makes your restaurant different from everyone else? How do you stand out?
Community. Mm-hmm. It's not about me. Even though it's called Jay's Breakfast Club, that business is not about me. Okay. It's about the employees. It's about the customers. It's about the experience. At the end of the day, of course, anybody in business is in business to make money. But beyond that, it's about restarting a fire in this community that we can, we will, and we are.
Okay. Awesome. Oh my God. You see why we're celebrating her? Do you see why we're celebrating her? And this is awesome. I can sit and talk with you for forever, but we're under someone else's time.
1 second.
We have 1 second left.
1 second left.
So with that, so I want to ask you in just, less than 60 seconds, this question I asked, but you've already answered. How do you and your business impact the community?
We feed them. We give them a great place to come and commune, and we encourage and inspire. Our mission is simply inspiring positivity through love, doing what we love, where we love, for the people we love.
All right.
Awesome. It's like home.
Mm-hmm. It feels
home.
Like home.
It does. It feels like home. Okay, so those are questions I have. I do have a couple more, but we have to go. PB, did you want to say anything?
No, we have to go. Carl said you got 2 seconds. He pulled the plug. It's fine. We'll see you guys tonight.
We'll see you guys tonight. Thank you so much for allowing us to come here. Okay, and we're going to
and we have to come back.
We have to come back.
Yes.
We have to come back. Yes. And we have to say real quick, come out to 4285 Cleveland Street, Gary, Indiana. It is going to be a fabulous play at Embassies of Christ where your host will be in. Okay, and we're going to bid you adieu and say, go be a blessing.
Oh, I love it.
All right, 88.7 FM, WGVE. Y'all, hey, Pat Boy, Jesus.
She's a mess.